It's a big week for Prince Andrew. The details of a secret agreement made between Jeffrey Epstein and Virginia Giuffre have now been unsealed overnight. The deal, worth $500,000 contains a clause that may actually protect Prince Andrew from a sexual assault lawsuit against him.
In the court documents, it declares Giuffre was a victim of sexual trafficking and abuse from the age of 16. Part of that abuse was being lent out to other powerful men. However, the documents make no mention of Prince Andrew by name. Andrew's legal team hope the document will be grounds to have the lawsuit against him thrown out.
Sunrise Royal editor Rob Jobson joins us now. Morning to you, Rob. What do we know about this settlement agreement and the implications for Prince Andrew?
Well, the deal was done a considerable time ago, 2009, and the figure involved, actually, I found it quite a small amount of money compared to what was being bandied around. $500,000 doesn't seem a vast sum for the abuse and the trafficking and the horrific offences that were perpetrated. But we know in the next 48 hours or so that there's going to be a ruling on this as to whether or not it will give Prince Andrew's lawyers a chance to throw this civil case out. I don't see how it necessarily can, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, what is quite specific is the people such as Alan Dershowitz, his lawyer, they were exonerated. That's why they couldn't go for him. He was part of that agreement, and that's why Virginia Giuffre's lawyers eventually dropped the case against Dershowitz. But that doesn't, as Andrew's not been named, well, it's really in the jurisdiction of the judge to see what happens next. It's not looking particularly strong case for Prince Andrew there.
Jobbo, let's say he does lose this case down the line. Will Prince Andrew give up his royal title? The royal family, we know, love to exile some of their members at times.
I mean, obviously, I don't think there's any way that he'd lose the title. The Duke of York, he could be asked not to use his title, His Royal Highness. But you've got to remember that when Andrew was born, he was the second in line to the throne. He's the second son of the Queen. And one thing that could happen, I mean, he is a Knight of the Garter, which is the oldest order of chivalry that only 24 people outside the royal family have. There's a big controversy over Tony Blair being made a Knight of the Garter at the moment. That could be stripped from him because the reality is you're not allowed to bring that order into disrepute. So there's one thing that could happen to him. The other thing is, you know, in terms of his military connections, although this has been denied in the past, you're not allowed to bring the uniform into disrepute either. But I must be honest, I can't see a lot of these things happening whilst Her Majesty is still alive. I think she'll move to protect her son. But as you say, if the case comes back and he's ruled against him in the civil case, he will probably not acknowledge that ruling. He will say, I'm not paying the fine because there's no jurisdiction for him to do so. But then where does that leave him? That's the point. I mean, it leaves him in a position where people, in terms of his reputation and everything about him has been completely destroyed. So I think the royal family will be looking in some way to cut him adrift because it's not a great look, is it?
I mean, regardless of the outcome of the court case, it's not a great look to be clutching at straws from a settlement that was reached 12 years ago. So, Jobbo, I suspect we'll be speaking to you a lot over the next couple of weeks as this all unfolds in court. Thanks for your time this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you.